Okay, so this is the graphic novel I Am Legend by Richard Matheson, which I don't think was originally a graphic novel because it says here adapted by Stephen Niles and Elmer Brown, and it did list the illustrators somewhere because it's a graphic novel. The illustrations are important. These are all black and white. Um, Quite unsettling, some of them, which I thought was good because I Am Legend. Maybe you watched the film. I kind of vaguely recognise the title. I didn't know it was a film, but it's a film. All black and white illustrations. It was given to me yesterday, last night, by a friend actually, and I've just finished it, and I really enjoyed it. I think I put it down once yesterday after I met my friend on the train back. I read it, and then I put it down, and I read the rest of it today. I Am Legend is a story by Richard Matheson about Robert Neville, and Robert Neville is apparently, so it seems, the only human being surviving in a world that's overrun by vampires. I wouldn't necessarily have chosen this book by myself, so I think, because I enjoyed it so much, I think it's a good idea to let other people get your books. This friend who gave this to me is actually the first person. He gave me my first ever graphic novel as well, Kill or Be Killed, which I thought was brilliant. That's reviewed somewhere else on this channel as well. So what's this book about other than the last survivor, the last human? Seemingly, he thinks he's the only human. Is he? Well, you find out if you read it. It's well worth reading, really enjoyable. I think with a graphic novel, what you need is you need the pictures to say things the words can't, and vice versa, and they have to complement each other, which I think this book does quite well. So there are scenes in this book where there's no writing at all, it's just a sequence of pictures, but you know what's going on, which I think is great. And you actually feel for the guy in this. It describes his routine. So the first chapter, I don't know if it's like this in the actual novel. I might get the novel as well. It's just called Part 1, January. And you find out this is a guy who's got rituals, who's got he makes lists every morning of the things he has to do, and the reason he has to do these things is because if he doesn't, he's going to die, because every night vampires surround his house. You find out he's burnt down the houses on either side of his, so they can't jump onto his roof. He's barricaded all the doors. He checks the generator every morning. He right from the very get-go, he has an urge to get out sometimes, to just maybe give up, maybe just let them make him a vampire too. So in the story, there's this internal struggle that the character's having. Is it worth carrying on like this? Is it worth holding out? Early on, you find out he has a craving. He's lonely. He has a craving for women, a craving for sex. But the only women there are other vampires. And it's never said, but you get the idea that sometimes he gets the compulsion to go out and maybe rape a vampire or a vampiress or something. And the fact that it makes you think about those things without explicitly stating them, it's a good book. It gets you inside the character's head. And then there are scenes where you actually feel fear. Or there's a very good scene where this guy doesn't venture too far from his house because if he doesn't get back in time and he's out after dark, he doesn't stand a chance. Every night they crowd round his house. They know he's there. They want flesh. They want fresh blood, and if he's the only surviving one, when they don't get it, they attack each other, but slowly he's killing them off. He has trips around town during the day where he just finds them sleeping in their homes or whatever and kills them. He's trying to kill them off slowly. It's a really interesting one. If you like the old zombie movies, Romero, was it George A. Romero? The fact that the name escapes me surprises me. George A. Romero's original zombie movies, then I think you'll really enjoy this. And it's got a twist at the end, you don't see it coming. The characters that show up, really enjoyed this. I'm just going to say thanks, Ted, for getting this for me. If you're watching, I doubt you ever will, but then there's a scene where a dog shows up. The guy craves companionship as well. And it's set over a few years, obviously, because towards the end of the book, his hair's thinning, he's grown a beard and everything, he's gained some weight. And it really does get across that feeling that time has passed and this guy's isolated, this guy's in solitude. and then when he does eventually find companionship, there's actually a dog in there. How does that end? Well, badly. At the same time, he's studying. He's studying the vampires. You know what causes it, and there's lots of origin stories, aren't there, for vampires? There's the most famous one. Then there's, never mind, the one that's in here. Obviously, Matheson has done some research on biology and viruses and everything, and bacteria, and the way he discovers it, and he thinks he understands it, but then there's doubt in his mind. And after he's been alone for so long, when another person does come along, are they a person? Are they another vampire? You don't know. And by the end of it, the whole of society's been turned on its head. So what exists of society? I'm trying to do this book review without giving away too much about the book. A couple of things. If you've never read a graphic novel before, try it. They're really good. I'd never read one before, like I said, until Ted got me one. A lot of it is pictures, yeah. So they're expensive, okay, but then you're paying for a lot of work. Like, you're paying for a lot of artwork. They're not as expensive. Sorry, normal novels aren't as expensive as this, but I think they're well worth having. If you enjoy artwork yourself, try copying some of the pictures. You'll learn something. That's a really good way to learn to draw. And pictures and these things are very expressive, you know, they're overdone, so you could even, by copying these, just get good at putting more expression in normal non-graphic novel artwork. Oh, now a major motion picture. That's why I recognise the name, right? But I really like that. I think I'd go and read something by Richard Matheson. I've never heard of him. I might even watch the film. You never know. I Am Legend. The ending is good. The ending's really good. But the whole thing is good. Really good story. Well adapted for comic book. I'll try and get hold of the original novel just to do a comparison between the graphic novel and the actual novel. I might watch the film. Well told, good characters, and I can imagine the film, if it's done well, could be really, really good. Has anyone out there seen the film? What did you think? If you've seen the film and read this, which one did you think was better? Or if you've read this but not seen the film, you know, let me know your comments. Let me know your opinions. I'd recommend it. I think it's really good. I wouldn't recommend it for anybody. I wouldn't recommend it for children because, you know, it's violent, and I'm just flicking through now because I read it quite quickly. I'm flicking through thinking, damn, that was good. So really enjoyable. And some of the pictures as well, I'm looking back and it's bringing the story back to life. Yeah. And the relationships as well. So there's one of the prominent vampires in here who's always the first to his house at night, who calls him out. You find out who he was before he became a vampire. Eventually you find out where he was hiding as well, where he's living. And there's all these little things that kind of get pieced together as the story goes on. It's really, really good. The main character, Robert Neville's relationship with alcohol, it's got an interesting take on there about when he eventually decides he doesn't need alcohol and he realizes he was using it as an emotional crutch. His relationship with sex, and he realizes that eventually it's not something that he craves anymore. There's a lot of character development which I like, but I'm going to give this one 8 out of 10. I'm going to recommend it. I think it's really good. So on the back this is $19.99. I don't know where Ted got it, but thank you, Ted. Thoroughly enjoyed it. Let me know if you've read any of Richard Matheson stuff as well and what you think, and whether you'd recommend it. Thanks very much.